What is going on, guys? My name is Corporate Serf, and welcome to a special episode here on the channel. So in a lot of my videos, I like to come up with new experimental methods for you guys to improve on kovaaks and aim trainers. That content is absolutely still coming, and I have quite a bit of content still in the works. But in the meantime, I want to start up a new series for the channel called Aim Trainer Stories. And basically, it's going to be me playing the game, the aim trainer. The runs in the background won't be too serious, and I'll just be sharing something that I find entertaining with you guys. It might be a type of content that some of you guys skip if you're only interested in getting better, but for those of you out there that are interested in getting to know me a little bit more personally, I'm hoping that this series will be a great start. So I'm going to crack open an ice cold Coke here on this Memorial Day Monday. This video might go up today, it might go up later. The only thing I worry about these personal stories is I might talk in circles about a couple different points, and one of those is my medical history. Today is May 26, 2025, and today marks the day 8 years ago that I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. It wasn't cancerous or anything like that, but it was in a place where surgically it was too large and wrapped around different arteries and my optic nerves, which is like my eyes. And so they couldn't do surgery. And so thankfully there's a medicine that I can take to reduce the size, but I still deal with the condition ongoing. So there is still a pretty large tumor in my head, and I've had it for 8 years. And thankfully things are getting better, but I still struggle with my hormone balance, and I really am stubborn. I fight the routine of taking my medicine sometimes just because I have 25 different pills to take every week. I have a gel medicine that I have to be careful about how I put that on. I take that after I shower, and it's just a pain in the ass. So 8 years of this condition is something to celebrate that I've made it this far and come this far, but at the same time it's kind of disappointing because I'm kind of realizing that not much is probably going to change. But who knows? I'm trying to be optimistic. Sorry to be a downer there for a second. But today's aim trainer story is going to be all about my video game history. So this is going to be a long video. If you guys don't really want to watch the aim training side of this aim trainer story, hopefully you guys can throw me on in the background and listen while you play your aim trainer. But I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. I have no notes. I have nothing prepared on this. I just opened up my computer, hit the recording software, and now I'm just going to start yapping about my history. So I probably will forget some stuff. There's some things I'll probably remember and think, dang, that was important to say, but I didn't. But anyway, let's start at the beginning. When I was 6 years old, Christmas of 2003. Shout out my Uncle Paul. He's a really cool dude. He has always been into video games. He used to play like SOCOM and some of those old PS2 shooter games. Well, he played a big part in me getting a PlayStation 2 from my grandpa for that Christmas in 2003. I can remember opening it up and being so excited. And then my Uncle Paul, he and my dad, they went upstairs and we hooked it up. I remember playing Scooby-Doo, Night of a Thousand Frights. That is the first video game I can remember playing. You know, the sad thing about that is I don't even own that game anymore. I really wish I could say that I lost it while I was moving, but I think I might have actually sold it. I probably sold it for like $2, even though it's a relic of my gaming history. But from there, when I was 7, I got a GameCube. And I wanted a GameCube so bad because my cousin Tony, he was really good at Super Smash Bros. I remember playing Super Smash Bros. Melee with him, and I would get absolutely destroyed on Hyrule Temple. I actually think part of those memories is him just playing the computer and me holding a controller that wasn't plugged in. At some point, I was smart enough to realize that I wasn't actually playing, but that was like before I was 7. I was not a very look. If I couldn't realize that the controller wasn't plugged in at 7, I might have had some deeper difficulties to work through in life. But I remember being like 5 and 6, watching him play, and then also being told that I was playing. Then when I was 9, I got the original Xbox. Although the Xbox 360 would have been out at that time, I had no idea that any of that stuff was out there. Like the Xbox 360, the PS3. All my friends had the original Xbox, so I wanted that too. And I remember when I got that Xbox, I got some really cool like baseball stuff. I got this like net with a squishy ball where I could throw it as hard as I could at the net, and then the squishy ball would come back and I'd catch it and I'd throw it again. That was really fun. But then along the baseball lines, I got Super Mario Baseball for the GameCube, which was totally awesome. That Mario Superstar Baseball is like one of the best games ever. Even if you don't like baseball, it's fun. Yeah, everything I just told you right there was my Christmas when I was 8. Um, The Christmas when I was 9 is when I got my Xbox, and I thought I got all that stuff the same year that I got my Xbox, but that's not right at all. So yeah, my Christmas at 8 was awesome, but my Christmas at 9 was when I got my Xbox. And I remember I played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, and that game was so cool. Speaking of my cousin Tony had like so many skills. He played so many different games, and I remember he showed me how to play the game properly. The game's pretty challenging even to this day. But then I also got a game that my dad took back, and I will never forget it. It was called Red Dead Revolver. I asked my dad the day I got my Xbox, I was like, Dad, can I play this one? On the cover, there's like a guy with a gun that's just been shot, like the smoke's coming out, and there's a dude like laying on the ground with his ace high poker hand. And my dad looked at it and was like, we could probably play this one later. And let me tell you, I was not playing that one later. That one got returned to GameStop. So those are the big three consoles. I mean, there was the Sega Genesis, of course, but the three biggest ones were the PlayStation 2, the Xbox original, and the GameCube. And I had all three of those by the time I was 9. So I was really content for a long time. That is all that I had um, until I like got into middle school. And I remember when I first got into middle school, my friends were playing Rock Band on the Xbox 360, and you could do this like really cool world tour. It was so much fun. Well, I had a PlayStation 2, and I saw at GameStop that there was a Rock Band game. So I was like, Dad, for Christmas, I would love to get a drum set and get Rock Band. And so my dad being awesome, he got me Rock Band for the PlayStation 2 just like I asked for. I booted it up. There wasn't a world tour. You couldn't do all this cool stuff that you could on the Xbox 360. And I remember being like, what? My PlayStation 2 can't do what an Xbox 360 can? And then things got even more interesting when I would go over to my friend's house and they would be playing like first person shooter games like Call of Duty or Battlefield. See, I was like, I wouldn't say that I was sheltered, but I would also say that I was sheltered. Um, I was not allowed to play games that were rated M for mature, and so I would like call my dad and be like, Dad, can I play this like Call of Duty game? And my dad would be like, you're over there, you can make your own decisions, but I would just really prefer if you didn't. I just remember being so sad as a kid that I couldn't play these games. And I would literally just watch them as they played. It's not like I'm going to be in a different environment. I'm watching them play. Although sometimes I had a friend Tyler who he was like really empathetic and he knew that it upset me that I couldn't play those games and so he helped me find some games on his Xbox that he had in his room that were like rated T and helped me play other games. Tyler was the type of kid that would give you the shirt off of his back if it could help you. I was friends with Tyler when I moved because I moved in middle school. I was friends with him from 6th grade to 8th grade, and I remember I had this really awesome time with him. At 8th grade graduation, I spent like an hour with him just talking to him. I was waiting on a prize. We did this like readers reward program where if you read books, you get put into a raffle, and you could have so many tickets. Like basically everyone was a winner, and so he won almost immediately. He was a really smart kid, and he won and came back and sat down with me, and I was like, I just wanted to get something, even if it was small. We talked like the whole hour, just chatting away about anything. And I remember the whole hour passed and my name didn't get called. And he gave me the Snicker bar that he got like 5 minutes into it. When I think back about middle school and high school, I really think about people being like good friends and having a good time, but there weren't very many peers and friends of mine that were selfless or that cared about how you were doing. But Tyler was one of them. That day was the last day that I saw him. 2 weeks later, he passed in an ATV accident, and it's literally been 14 years, but I still think about him. He was one of my first friends moving to where I am now, but he was one of the most genuine, just real friends that I had. Rest in peace, buddy. But going back to like the video game stuff with Tyler, like I would remember going over to friends' houses and um not being able to like watch shows and stuff, but then watch shows or play games just because they were rated T or rated M. But then eventually, um, like I became an 8th grader, so I think it was 14, and I would go over to their house and then I'd call my dad and be like, "Hey, can I please play this game?" And eventually I was able to play those games with him. So right at Christmas time, that 8th grade year, I was 14. I remember I got my PlayStation 3 for the first time. And that was really cool for me because I had bought an Xbox 360 with my birthday money as a 13-year-old. But because Xbox Live cost money, and because I had no idea on this earth how to set it up to the internet, I wasn't allowed to play games online. So I did have like the T-rated Call of Duty games. I think I had Call of Duty 3. No, I had Call of Duty 2 first. Call of Duty 2 was one of my first like proper shooters on the Xbox 360. That Xbox 360 was really cool because I would play like COD 2 and COD 3 because they were both rated T. And then I'd watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I have really fond memories of my Xbox, but I did all of my like competitive online FPS stuff on PlayStation 3, and that's because online was free. So I remember for Christmas I got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, my first M-rated game, and I played it offline for like the first week or so. But then all my friends were like, "Yo, you got Modern Warfare 3? You gotta set it up." And so I finally set it up to play online, and I was playing on less than 2 megabytes per second. I'm talking like 1.5, 1.8. I was playing on Wi-Fi far from the router, and then I was playing on a TV that had crazy input lag. I did not have a headset at all. I just used the TV audio. But the worst part about all this is I did not own an HDMI cable. I used composite 480i from my PlayStation 3 with no headphones, with bad Wi-Fi, on a TV with input lag for an entire year. And then after that year, thankfully, I got a headset and I got an HDMI cable, but I was still playing on input lag and on Wi-Fi. So for me, playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, that was like the coolest game of all time. It's still my favorite game ever. But in that game, there was a tactical nuke, and it was called the MOAB. You'd have to get 24 or 25, depending on if you had hardline, gun kills in a row, and then you could call in the MOAB. I didn't even know what it was until I got MOAB'd by somebody else. Like there was just this timer in the top left corner, and then all the map turned into dust, and I was like, what just happened? And so eventually I figured out that you could earn that. It was like a secret kill streak within that game, and I was amazed. So this is the start of the trademark corporate surf dedication. I played for 18 months on that terrible setup that I had for my PlayStation 3 trying to get a MOAB. I'm talking about I watched YouTube videos, I prayed to God, I was begging my friends to help me. Guys, can you run ballistic vest? Guys, can you please keep this spawn trap going? I'm so close to this MOAB. I go on 16 streaks, 17, 18, 19, 20. I even went on a 23 kill streak one time, but I never got the MOAB. I would literally spend an hour every day watching guides on how to get the MOAB, watching gameplays of other people get MOABs. If you saw my search history in 2013, it was literally MW3, how to get a MOAB in Modern Warfare 3, TB Nerf frags, Modern Warfare 3, best PlayStation 3 player, Modern Warfare 3. Any possible combination of words with MW3 and MOAB, I was looking it up. I was trying to figure it out. Well, then one day, the stars aligned, the sky and the heavens beamed down on me, and I got the worst lobby of all time. Interchange, Modern Warfare 3, Interchange Domination 6v6, ACR 6.8, Camping. I took all 11 minutes of that game, but I finally got the MOAB. I was high for days. There is nothing that could have happened to me. You could have said, "Hey man, your ankle's broken." Wouldn't have mattered. I was going to be the happiest person on earth. And I've told this story before. I kind of left out the part where I played Infected, which is like a cheese game mode. I got like 100 infected MOABs before I got this one. It's genuinely like the easiest thing ever to get an infected MOAB, so I don't even really count it as part of that journey. But simply the jubilation of trying for something for 18 months and then getting it, pure euphoria. Now some of you guys might know me from playing Snake Track, if my aim trainer viewers are still here, but I played Smoothbot before I played Snake Track. And on kovaaks in particular, I have 1,700 hours right now. It is not an exaggeration to say at least 900 of those are specific to Smoothbot and Snake Track. It might be an under evaluation if you count the variants that I make. The work ethic that I had as a 14 and 15-year-old kid playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, that spirit never went away. Getting that MOAB in that moment made me who I am today. Anyway, moving right along, I played Black Ops 2. I didn't play it as extensively as I played Modern Warfare 3. I just loved Modern Warfare 3 more than any other game ever. And so Modern Warfare 3 has been my main game since I started playing Apex and I played kovaaks. But I did play Black Ops 2. I went back and played some Black Ops 1, played Modern Warfare 2 and some COD 4. But I'm not going to try and get too deep into this topic because it's a little bit controversial, but I actually gave up playing first-person shooter games altogether because I had some Christian guilt. I'm really not trying to get into any part of religion here right now. It's just a part of my gaming story. Presently, I'm not a Christian. That's a personal decision that I've come to after a long time of kind of deconstructing my faith. But when I was 17, the end of my time being 16, and then when I was 17, I had this kind of identity crisis, like religious battle in my head, and I felt really guilty for playing games where like you would shoot and kill. And so for literally 3.5, maybe 4 years, I completely gave up all form of shooting games. The only game that I would play was NBA 2K. I even gave up games like Infamous, like if you've ever heard of Infamous Second Son, like I just threw that game in the trash. If anybody were to ever call me like crazy or insane, I could definitely understand it because at that point in my life I was crazy. But I went to college and I played NBA 2K with my friends that year, but still I wasn't playing like shooter games until the end of the year when the Battlefield beta came out. Actually, that might have been the beginning of the year. I think I started off playing 2K and then the Battlefield 1 beta came out, and I was like, what am I doing? I've been missing out on these games for so long. So that whole year, I transitioned into playing like more free games because I didn't have a job. I was just going to school and stuff. So I played like this game called Blacklight Retribution, which was a lot of fun. But still, a majority of the time I was playing 2K just because that's what like my friends enjoyed. I was not playing video games very much, and I broke out my PlayStation 2 as well around Christmas time, so I'd play like NFL Street with my friends. It was really a lot of fun, just being able to play local multiplayer with them. But then the end of my freshman year is when I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and that's when my whole life just completely changed. And so while I had this like super like locked in discipline for like I'm not playing very many video games, I enjoy them, but I have to do my schoolwork and stuff, that all went right out the window. My sophomore year, I brought my PlayStation 3 to school with me, and I just played MW3 every single day. I was back on MW3 going for MOABs, like just having so much fun. It was amazing. And that year was 2017, so at the end of 2017, there was Fortnite. And I remember I still had my PlayStation 4, even though I was playing my PlayStation 3 a bunch. My friends started talking about this Fortnite game, and I was like, really? It's like they described it as the Hunger Games. Like, what? You get to play the Hunger Games? And I remember I played it for the first time, and I was like, yo, this is really fun. I camped to second place in a game because my friend Matt told me to camp in a bush. I got to second place, and I was like, okay, that game's amazing. I have to download this on my PlayStation 4. YouTube, it was game over for me. I downloaded Fortnite, and that was the only game I could play for the next like 4 years. I had a really long stint with Black Ops 3 because Black Ops 3 is like incredible. So I did play Black Ops 3. Actually, so I take a medicine called cabergoline, and it makes me predisposed to gambling addiction. I spent, this is no exaggeration, at least $500 on Black Ops 3's gambling system. But with Fortnite, I transferred that fear of missing out, like gambling ideology. On Fortnite, I probably spent $1,000 on Fortnite skins. I genuinely, I can't go to casinos. I can't do any of that kind of stuff because I am very predisposed to this gambling stuff. But anyway, Fortnite was such a love for me. I was exceptionally bad at the game. I thought I was like really smart and that I could just camp, and I came up with this strategy where I didn't even land until there were I didn't even land from the battle bus until there were 50 people left. That is one of my first videos here on YouTube. There's like a COD 4 remastered video. Then like the first proper video I have is me doing this like skip the storm strategy thing. So I've been making guides on YouTube for years now. You'll hear my voice in that video. I was like 21 or 22. Like I was old enough to drink, but I sound like I was 15, and that's just because my hormones were being suppressed by my tumor. So then I loved Fortnite, and it kind of inspired me to get into PC gaming because I saw that you can have like more frames and stuff on PC, and so I learned how to like build PCs. It was really cool because the university supply store was right around the corner. It's like a university surplus store. So they would have tons of just old computers that they were throwing away, and some of them had like big enough shells that you could modify them. Like you could fit a whole graphics card in there. So that was my PC. It was a old i5, like, generations ago. It's probably a 2012 i5, but it was good enough to run Fortnite really well. And I would never touch mouse and keyboard. I was just playing controller on PC, but really I preferred console because I would play these PC lobbies and then complain that people were so much better than me. So I went back to console basically exclusively. I got really into COD again. I played that Modern Warfare Remastered game a lot. I played it some when it came out, like I was playing it a little bit before Fortnite. But then after I was getting kind of tired of Fortnite, I played Modern Warfare Remastered so much. I got the mastery cam on there, which took hours on hours. It's like a glowing green exclusion zone camo. So my love for Fortnite inspired me to start my YouTube channel, but my love for Call of Duty inspired me to post regularly because I was better at Call of Duty than I was at Fortnite. So I would play current COD for that time with like World War II and then some of the older games like Black Ops 3, Modern Warfare Remastered. But then I got an Xbox One, and that was amazing because I loved those Call of Duty games, but the fact that the Xbox One implemented backwards compatibility meant I could go back and play all the old CODs that I had loved before. So I went back and played a ton of Modern Warfare 3. I mean, I probably sunk another 3,000 or more hours into Modern Warfare 3. But that's when a big era of my YouTube channel started, was just playing Modern Warfare 3 on backwards compatible, playing some of the other CODs too, like Black Ops 1 and MW2. But on my channel now, I have the top 50 tracking players for aim trainers. I had a top 50 list for Call of Duty back then. I had a top 50 list for Modern Warfare 3 back then. And those videos were getting, like, my regular views now. Those videos were exploding for me as a channel with, like, 150 or 200 subscribers. So I kept playing Modern Warfare 3 on Xbox until Xbox quite literally broke itself. Like, you could still play in servers, but, like, the matchmaking service was stupidly bad. And I got tired of it, so I decided to go back to that PC that I had built. Well, this is where I ran into some of my first issues because that did not have controller support. So that is the first time that I was playing keyboard and mouse, was like 2020 to 2022. I was getting steamrolled by good players that had been playing keyboard and mouse for a long time. But I was just kind of dealing with it because I would go back and forth between like Fortnite on PlayStation and then those PlayStation CODs. And then if I was patient enough, I could go back to my Xbox and play those CODs. So I was upset with PC for the fact that I was really bad at keyboard and mouse. But at the same time, I had enough game sense that I could like kind of cope. Well, 2022, like mid-2022, Modern Warfare 3 on PC, this Plutonium client, it got controller support. That is like the dark ages of corporate surf because I was playing controller on PC. I really wasn't even that good. Sure, I was above average, but I convinced myself that I was better than I was, and I kind of had an ego for no reason. So because I was playing so much controller on MW3, I got into a different controller PC game, and that was Apex. I was so bad at Apex on controller that I downloaded AimLab. I downloaded AimLab to get better at a controller game. So my first experience playing aim trainers was exclusively with controller. I would play Grid Shot Ultimate on controller, Smooth Thin Strafe Gauntlets, and just the most ridiculous, unproductive, like, controller switch track. I really do think that it helped me in my controller aim, but I was kind of coping with skill issues, and rather than just full swapping to keyboard and mouse, I hard committed controller. I remember I played a little bit of MOAB Official Ranked at that time. I might have only played 1 or 2 tasks, but I did get a rank of MOAB Official Silver, and I'm almost positive I decided to try that on mouse and keyboard. So one of my first moments playing aim trainers on mouse and keyboard was realizing I was absolutely terrible and placing silver. Anyway, I was still on this really weird binge for optimizing my controller success. I would literally take 2 control freaks, remove the top of one of them, super glue it to the other, and have a super controller freak. I was so serious about improving my aim on controller that I would go to the extent of gimmicks like that. But seemingly it worked out because I made masters for the game that I cared about, Apex. The kind of sad part is it wasn't a very hard season. It wasn't the season 12 or the season 17. Those are the ones that everyone says was free. But it was the one where it had the trial, the trial games where you had to win to get into them. So I remember losing RP at Diamond and then getting mad and losing my trial games. But eventually I made it into Master and I actually did pretty well. I finished towards the top 1 or 0.5%, something like that. There were a lot of players that season. So I had this really big inflated ego, lots of confidence. I decided to take on a little bit of Counter-Strike. But I started on controller for Counter-Strike 2. I said Counter-Strike 2, but I meant Counter-Strike as well. This was Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The end of it, but still Global Offensive. Well, obviously I got destroyed by the actual good mouse and keyboard players while I was playing controller, so that didn't last very long. I did swap to mouse and keyboard. But because I already had this experience aim training on controller, I decided to do some aim training on mouse and keyboard. I still was unfamiliar with Voltaic or all these other stuff, so I was playing Gridshot Ultimate almost exclusively. I played Gridshot every single day for maybe 100 days in a row. It might have been more than that. I took my Gridshot all the way up to, I think it was 92,000, which is not a very good score, but where I started at 40 or 50,000. I fell in love with the progress side of aim training. And I would also play Switch Track and Steady Track and all the MOAB official tasks. But I still never played the MOAB official ranked. I just was afraid to touch it. I was only playing to get better at CSGO. I got up to Master Golds, the highest gold level before Master Guardian, and then CS2 came out. All my progress on CSGO was just gone. I was pretty upset by it, so I decided to go back to MOAB and try MOAB official rank. After playing so many MOAB official tasks, I actually did kind of decent, and I started out in the Ruby to Emerald range. I think my tracking was good enough that I actually got the Emerald rank. I remember my excitement the first time I got to Diamond rank. Mind you, this is Season 3 of MOAB official ranked, so it wasn't even a very respected season. It wasn't very competitive either in terms of top players. But I remember I would see this name at the top of every single leaderboard, and it was VT Matty. I thought one of two things. This guy is either a cheater, or this dude is an absolute baller. But I didn't really look up any guides. I just kind of kept doing my thing. I put so many hours into tracking. It was crazy. And I finally got up to master tracking. I was so excited with master tracking that I decided, okay, I have to do everything else now. I got master switching, and then somehow at the absolute end of the season, I got master clicking. So I got up to top 1,000, and there were 300,000 players that played at least one ranked task. So for me, going from Ruby and Emerald to master and being top 1,000, that was a really cool accomplishment. But the thing that helped me get there, I believe, was at the end of Season 3 MOAB official, I decided to get into Voltaic MOAB. I got silver complete pretty fast with gold rank overall, and then I got up to platinum and maybe even diamond before that Season 3 of MOAB official ended. Then there was kind of a gap in between Season 3 and Season 4 for MOAB, and in that gap I decided to buy kovaaks. Even though I bought kovaaks, I was still really stubborn to my allegiance with MOAB, and so I got up to Jade on MOABs before I even really got into kovaaks. But then I got Jade on kovaaks, and Season 4 of MOAB official rank came out. So I was working on Voltaic, MOAB, and then MOAB official ranked at the same time. And on Voltaic, I got Master, which was really cool. Something that was really special for me about hitting Voltaic Master. I hit Voltaic Master on the day that my friend Tyler died. It was really crazy too because I was like super far off. I needed maybe 4 different scores to get Master, and I pretty much hit them all in that day. I didn't really share it with anyone, but in my mind and in my heart, I dedicated that to him. Some people might not see Master as like a huge accomplishment, but hitting Voltaic Master was something that I never thought I could ever possibly do, and the fact that I was able to do it on that day, it was one of the coolest moments of my life. So I got that Voltaic Master, and Season 4 was still going on. Season 4 of MOAB official, that is, and I just decided I was going to go all in, give it my 100% for MOAB official. I got Grandmaster tracking, and then I got Grandmaster 1 max rank, and then switching I was able to complete, but clicking, I didn't think I had a chance in the world of getting Grandmaster 1. For weeks, I grinded this one task. It was like linear aim. I think it might have been called float click or something. I played it for weeks, but I can't even remember the name of it now. Anyway, I finally got that one to Grandmaster 1, and I had all 3 categories at Grandmaster 1 as well. I peaked at rank like 160 or something like that, but I finished top 200. And that season also had like 300,000, maybe like 500,000. So it was that point in time when I was the Voltaic Master and doing really cool stuff, in my opinion, on MOAB official, that I was like, okay, maybe I can keep progressing this aim training thing. But instead of going for Grandmaster on MOAB for Voltaic, I decided to go back to kovaak. While it was somewhat easy for me to get Jade on kovaaks, getting Master on kovaaks was one of the hardest things I had ever done. I think people will go back in time and say that kovaak Season 4 was an easy season, but kovaak Season 4 compared to MOAB Season 2 for Voltaic, kovaaks was way more challenging. That's just my opinion, but I think other people share that as well. But anyway, I fought with it and I got Master for kovaaks Voltaic Season 4. And then MOAB Season 3 came out for Voltaic. I got Master on that, but then I got like buffed out of it. I'm still Jade now, I think, but I got buffed out of my Master for MOAB Season 3. But it was at that point in time where I had Masters in 3 different ways for Voltaic, and I was this MOAB official Grandmaster, like top 200. I decided, you know what? I'm not having fun playing these clicking scenarios. I can only get them to Jade. I'm just going to play tracking and see where that goes. Let me tell you, that was like the best decision of my life. Had I made that decision earlier when like my clicking was at Diamond, or if I didn't have my switching up to Master 2, maybe that would have been a bad call. But for me personally, focusing specifically on tracking was such a good move. I got my first Grandmaster scores, and then I got my first Nova scores. Don't get me wrong, I struggled. I had to play Smoothbot like more than 1,000 times just to get Nova. But it was worth it because I was gaining some really good skills, but also I was making connections and building my confidence. Well, then something amazing happened. kovaaks Season 5 Voltaic came out. I remember Christmas Eve, my jaw hit the ground as I was at my grandma's house because nobody really expected the benchmarks to be released, the beta to come out. It was somewhat of a surprise release, and I couldn't wait to get back home on Christmas Eve just so I could try out the tracking scenarios. Well, let me tell you something. I only tried out 2, and I only played the second one a couple times. That second one was Ground. I barely played that to like Grandmaster, but the one I played was Snake Track Advanced. Christmas Eve, I struggled so much. I was so angry at myself. I barely got to Grandmaster. Grandmaster at that time was 2,850 score. I literally hit that number on the tee, on the nose. And it took me probably 30 or 40 runs just to do that. Then all of Christmas, I was back at my grandma's house and I was just thinking like, man, I'm Nova on Smoothbot. Why am I struggling on Snake Track? I'm getting Snake Track to Nova. YouTube, let me tell you, it was such a struggle. I was going through it. I played and I played and I played, and I couldn't get it up to Nova. I remember I was in a VC with my friends Swans, Dawn, and T-John. And man, I got it while I was playing with them and I showed them. And I'll always remember what T-John said. T-John was like, hey man, you just proved that to yourself. You're always going to be Nova at a minimum. Man, those words were like, not necessarily life-changing, but it really like gave me a confidence boost. Like, yeah, I did prove myself. I'm a 2-time Nova tracker. And yeah, now I can look at it and be like, well, it's Nova smoothness, blah, blah, blah. I did it, man. But as things go, I'm a little crazy, and I decided to keep playing Snake Track. Didn't play anything else. I played Snake Track another 1,000 times until I got Astra. And when I got Astra, it was like getting that MOAB for the first time. Just pure euphoria. I couldn't believe it. But I was terrified that I was going to get buffed out of Astra. I was like, I got to get 3,700. I told my girlfriend, like, when you're eating breakfast, think about the number 3,700. So the time from 3,600 until I actually did hit 3,700, it was 1 week long. That was the hardest week of my life. I almost broke my fingers playing Snake Track. In that 1 week, I think I played Snake Track like 500 times or something crazy. But you know what? I got 3,700. And when I got 3,700, it was like a breakthrough moment. It was like, oh, I'm smooth now. I can do this. And I looked at the scoreboard and 3,850 is Celestial, so why don't I keep playing this? And now, mind you, this is the old Snake Track. This is the Snake Track that was smaller. I thought it was harder. I mean, maybe it was easier. Who can tell, really? But the Celestial target was 3,850. And there were only 3 people that had done it. VT Matty, Sapatic, and Kaluminati. So I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, I don't know if I can do this because those 3 people are super good at this game. But you know what? I'm crazy enough. I can't stop playing this. I'm going to try. So I got a couple more PBs. I think one was like barely a PB. It was like 37.29. And then I got 37.69. Somewhere in like the mid to high 3,700s. Still, I was kind of like, ooh, 3,850. That's looking pretty far. But I like literally couldn't stop playing this. I was compelled every moment of every day to play Snake Track. My hands were hurting at work because I was playing Snake Track, but I kept playing Snake Track. Then on one fateful night, I got 2 personal best scores. One of them was Snake Track Elite, and it was like so much better than second place, it was a little bit crazy. The other one was Snake Track Advanced Thin. I was battling with this dude Blackouts. He's a really good aimer, by the way, but I was playing him, and he beat my score, and I was like, okay, I gotta go beat this. It took me like an hour and a half to beat his score, and when I beat it, I was like, oh, I'm smooth, like we're ready. It was late at night. I should probably have gone to bed. I didn't want to go to bed, but I was a little bit tired. But with those 2 variants that I beat my high score, I was like, okay, let's try this. Let's go ahead and play Snake Track Advanced again. And I played for 1 hour. Well, I got a little close. Let's keep going. Hour number 2, even closer. That's good. Hour 3, nothing. I was getting tired. Hour 4, I'm getting close. I can feel my consistency. Hour 5, why am I still playing this? I need to give up. Hour 6, no, I'm close. I'm gonna get this. I am going to get Celestial right now. Hour number 7, I'm playing for like half an hour in this hour. I go to start a run. The hit sound doesn't work. I have no audio. My game is just bugging. Close the game. It's like 4:30 a.m. I need to go to bed. I work today. Nope. I load up kovaaks again. I go to Snake Track. Just so tired. Ridiculously tired. But I'm so like consistent and smooth and like I'm in flow state. But for a half an hour I don't get it. I look at the clock and it says 5 a.m. Physically I can see that it's 5 a.m. and that I've been playing for 8 hours. But mentally, I have like transcended into a flow state that cannot be interrupted. And I'm like not even like joking at any part about this either. I'm like mumbling to myself like, I'm going to do this. This is mine. I'm going to claim this. I am going to do this. I was just like mumbling stuff to myself. And like for at least 15 minutes, I'm just saying stuff to myself, just mumbling, like locked into the most pure flow state I've ever felt in my life. and I start a run, and it's perfect. It's beyond perfect. Keep going. I'm perfectly locked in. Like, every transition, every strafe, every reset is so pure. And then I look up, and I see my high scores jumped to 3892. Guys, I have never been, like, extremely emotional, but I instantly started crying. I was thanking God. I was just in a pure state of bliss. I still should have gone to bed, but no, I had to go directly to Discord, posted that in VT General, like a really cool cat wearing my fedora. It was one of the coolest moments of my life, and I have no problem saying that. Video games are my life, man. It was one of the coolest moments I've ever experienced. But then the crazy thing was, PGT was getting reworked, and everybody knew that that score was going to get nuked for everyone. But then so did Snake Track in March. So this scenario I had well over 1,500 runs for, it was gone. I didn't know if I could do it again, man. I thought, what are the odds that I spent all this time on this, and there's only like 4 scenarios that get changed, and mine, the one that I played, is the one that gets changed. I started playing it, and the bot was faster. It had better acceleration. It was harder to track. Celestial was still 3850, but I wasn't coming close. I was still back in that battle of 3600, 3700. I just couldn't do it. Then Celestial gets moved up to 4050. I'm still at like 3700. Finally, I got 3800. I'm stuck at 3800 for like another week. I'm thinking, man, was I ever even good? Did I ever even deserve that Celestial? Finally, I broke the old Celestial threshold, but I still wasn't there, and I was fighting the challenge of the task, but I was also fighting my mental. Like, what am I even good at if I can't even prove myself with Snake Track? Then Maddie got like a 4200. I was like, he's gapping everybody, and I can't even get Celestial again. But I just couldn't. I physically could not let myself give up. Even though I played the original Snake Track, like, I think 1,600 or 1,700 times, I played this new one 550 times. 550, that's like the most played scenario for a lot of people. I played the rework 550 times, and I finally got Celestial again. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't as much of a moment for me as the original Celestial was, but it was just relief that I proved that to myself. But then I saw Maddie still gapping me pretty crazy. I wanted to prove some more. And so I was like maybe Celestial number 7 or 8 Celestials now. And it's been that way for like months. But at that time there were like 7 or 8 Celestials. And I was like, this 4050 is not looking very good on me. One of the reasons why Snake Track in particular has a lot of Celestial players is because it's one of the most pushed scenarios. Or at least it was. There's a lot of smoothness 1 tricks, and so the people that are like really good at smoothness really only have one scenario to play. So I wanted to prove to myself that, like, okay, yeah, I did get this Celestial, but like I want to prove that I'm worthy of this Celestial. And I got myself up to and above what Maddie's 4200 was. Now Maddie's at like 4300, like right at 4300. I got my score up to where I felt proud of, and that's where it sits right now, 4226. So since then, I've really been chilling. I've gotten about 10 or so more scores to Nova, and I got Smoothbot to Astra. I really feel like I've proven a lot with my tracking. I have Nova by every single category, so that's reactive, control, and precise. I do still need to work on my ground reactive, but for the most part, I've pretty much well established that I can get Nova on any type of tracking scenario. But I've just been making YouTube videos trying to share my insights and what I've learned in terms of a little bit of technique, but mainly my training methods. That's what I specialize the most with. But anyway, that is my gaming story from 6 years old until today. I am not quite sure how long this video is going to come out to be, but the recording I have is 1 hour and 25 minutes. It's really hard for me to do these recordings. I have to start and stop, and I like stutter on a whole bunch of stuff. Like what I said right there, just where I stuttered at the end of that, I would have reset everything, and then when I go back in editing, I would have like deleted that out. So it's not going to be 1 hour and 25 minutes, but I think it will be over 1 hour. So if you have somehow listened to all of this, I want to say thank you. As I've said, I've been making YouTube videos for almost 10 years now. Throughout a vast majority of the time creating them, not a lot of people have enjoyed my content or really wanted to watch it on a consistent basis. Of course, I've had some amazing friends that have supported my content for a long time. But just like with my YouTube analytics and stuff, not a lot of people were watching my old stuff, and not a lot of people that did watch it had a long view duration. They started the video and stopped it. So seeing all the support and all the people interested in what I'm talking about today, it's been super cool, and it's exciting to have content out there that's helpful to people and entertaining. So if somehow you are one of these people that's made it an hour in listening to me, thank you. It means more than I can express. I'm going to go ahead and get up, get some water, get moving around because I've literally just been sat here talking for an hour and a half. But thank you all again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.